What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioWest 3 Raw TV. So, you see the headline, Hunter Labrada wins his pro debut at the Tampa Pro. Now, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Hunter. I think he's got an amazing physique. What I don't like is when people compare him to his father because he's a totally different person. And, of course, Sergio Olivia's gone through that too. But I think really, now he's stepping up in his physique has gotten a lot bigger. I mean, he's really holding the weight well, and he's definitely progressed to a point where, he deserved that win. I was really kind of disappointed in Ian, to be totally honest with you. When I saw him and Hunter side by side, Ian looked, he was hard. He was lean. It looked like something was a little bit off. I don't know whether he was a little bit flat. He didn't have a lot of pop to his muscles. Like if you look at him on his Instagram, he pops. Everything just pops, right? And you're like, damn, he's hard, he's lean. This is a good look, right? And then when he got on there, it just looked like something was missing. His tan was really fucked up too, which that just goes to show you, and I tell guys all the time, and girls too, that the tan is important. It can actually take away from your physique. I mean, I've had it happen to me many times in the past where, people didn't tell me when I first started out the tan is so important, how to get it right. There were tans that I had that were green. There was one year that I put on Jantana, and if you don't use the products that go with the tanning products, like the oil that goes with the tan, sometimes it takes it off. So I used Jantana product and used hot stuff oil, took it right off. Once you put oil on, you can't put tan back through it, like seals it out. So I mean, I've been through it all. I saw it and I thought his color was kind of screwed up. He looked a little flat but hard and diced. And Hunter just had the better overall physique. He had all the body parts look good. He just flowed really well. I thought his tan was on point. I'll be honest with you, I watched his routine. I was a little disappointed with his posing. And that's my problem because I'm comparing him to his dad. And I expect him to pose like his dad, and that's not right for me to do that. It's not right for me to expect him to be like his dad. He's his own person. He's a mass monster already at his age. His dad never was. So he's going to move differently. He's going to pose differently. I thought, hands down, the right decision. As soon as I saw them I saw a video and the picture, I said, he's got it, hands down. Now, that being said, when a new younger guy comes out, I want to address this, which this is not to bring everything down, but Hunter won, can't take that away from him. Tampa Pro, awesome. Was the lineup a really good lineup this year? It wasn't. I mean, let's just face facts. Even Hunter himself probably could have been better, but between the COVID thing that went on, in the gyms opening, not opening, there's been a lot of stuff going on, including the stress, and it definitely showed on the physiques this year, so far. And that's expected, okay? So that being said, we had a subpar year in many shows that I've seen so far, just because of the fact that people have had a hard time staying on track. And the ones that have, they themselves admit to falling off here or not training hard here or being out of the gym here. They themselves had admitted that they hadn't had a contest prep that was really given 100%. So I'm like, okay, we basically give everybody a pass this year, which I'm totally cool with, right? I think that's the right thing to do, to be honest with you. Do what you can, do as much as you can, be the best you can. But this year, really nobody's their best. That's it. A lot of people pulled out of shows. Not the best, not the hardest lineup, but still he wins. You give that to him. He was the best of the best. He did what he had to do to win, and he was the best on that day because he stuck to everything and pushed himself during these trying times harder than everyone else. He did it right, put it together. He deserves that win. Done. Now, that being said, the subpar competition this year, right? Completely understandable. Not knocking anybody. I get it. But the problem that I have now is all of a sudden, and this happens every time one of these young guys comes out, they start throwing out, oh, he's definitely a future Mr. Olympia. Oh my God, he's destined for great things. We had, I don't remember his name. I feel so stupid right now. The individual last year that looked a lot like Ronnie Coleman, and when he's at the Olympia, people are like, oh, he's the next Ronnie Coleman. He looks like Ronnie. They start putting this pressure on these guys. That's the worst thing as a fan or a supporter or another competitor, whatever. That's the worst thing you can do to Hunter right now, is to start putting on him that he's a future Mr. Olympia. We saw Justin Compton, same type of thing. We've seen, many guys come out, but we've also seen people like Phil Heath come out, right? And be touted as a future Mr. Olympia, and he was. But usually, most likely, we have more people that are touted as Mr. Olympias that never even make it there than actually become Mr. Olympias. Now, Hunter, as good as he looked on stage, which by himself, he looked even better. When they had the shots of him before he got on stage in the room or whatever it was, I don't know, I think it was Chris Acedio was checking in, or whoever it was that was dialing him in. He had veins going through his abs. He was dry, and I was like, damn, I said, the kid looks good. He looks good. Now let's see how, because Ian, on his own, day before the show, 2 days before the show, I'm like, damn, he looks good too. I can't wait to see these guys next to each other, right? And then when they did, it was glaringly obvious that Hunter had beaten Ian, but Hunter still didn't look as good as he did because, first of all, you make those last-minute adjustments, you don't look as good. You screw something up, you lose that little bit of an edge. But when you stand somebody next to another competitor who's just as good, now the competitor like Hunter doesn't look as good as he did in the pictures by himself. Now bear that in mind. If you take Hunter right now and put him on the Olympia stage, I'm not knocking Hunter, but he's like last place. Okay? That's just reality. And people get it skewed in their head. They see him and they like him and he's talented and maybe that's the type of physique they would want to have themselves. They were big fans of Labrada's and because he's his son and like all these different things, right? That they start looking at him, they go, oh no, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. Now, when you put that pressure on him, when he reads all this stuff, when he starts hearing it, because as soon as you interview him, and people have read this stuff, I guarantee whoever's interviewing will be like, hey, you know, you're being touted as a future Mr. Olympia. What do you think about that? And then they give now he knows. Even if he didn't read the stuff, he knows. Right? That's a lot of pressure to put on someone. Now, bear with me. Now, Hunter, at his age, he has a long career ahead of him. We don't know whether he's going to get bigger, stay here, because he's big enough right now to be competing in these lower tier shows and really do damage. He'll probably add size. He's already added size from, when he turned pro. His physique will change, right? So by the time he ever gets to Olympia, because I think this year he qualifies for next year too, right? So if he decides to go to the Olympia next year with that year in between, when he goes on stage, it's a whole different ball game, right? So he may not even be ready next year. He may have to compete again in the future to qualify to go to the Olympia. We don't know what the future holds. But the bottom line is, when you step up to that next level, there's always like another level, okay? And when you step up to the next level, there's guys that are so far ahead of you, but you don't really know it until you get there, right? Because you're always looking at people in the gym, on TV or whatever, and then you look at yourself, and you compare yourself, and you're like, maybe. And then when you get there and you realize, holy shit, like I'm in the deep end now. And there are fucking great whites swimming in this fucking deep end right now. There are sharks that they're just fucking top apex predator motherfuckers. And they are there to fucking win. And fuck, what did I get myself into? That's what happens a lot of times, right? So understand that when you start competing on the local level, there's the people that go into the shows and they look really good in the gym, but they get on the stage and they don't necessarily look as good. For some reason, they're a gym bodybuilder, which there are people that look great in the gym, they look like shit on stage. Then you go in there and you start making adjustments, you finally win. You win your local competition, right? And then you go to regional competition. And when you get to regional competition, the competition's even harder there. It seems like the more you do this, the better you get at it, the harder the competition gets, right? And you get to a point where it really winds up being, it doesn't matter how hard you work, what drugs you take, what you do, it winds up being the master of genetics at that top elite level. And you don't know until you get there whether you actually have the genetics. Like Ronnie didn't know he had them, Dorian didn't know he had them, Flex, all these guys, they didn't know they had the type of genetics to be that top tier until they got there. People look at them and say, oh yeah, you do. But to fulfill that prophecy, once you get there, then you know. So you go from the regional level winning, you go to the junior national level, right? Excuse me, or the junior level. When you get to that junior level, so I'll tell you, the first time I walked into a junior level show, I had been around regional levels, local levels for, 10 years or something like that. I walked in there and went, holy shit, these are different animals. And then when you get from the junior level to the national level, whole different ball game than the junior level. You can't even believe what you're looking at with these guys compared to the guys that were in the other competition in the junior level. Then you go from the national level to the pro level bottom tier, and those guys look even fucking more insane. Like, you're not even comprehending when you get to level. You're like, holy shit. Then when you finally get through that, there's another level from the bottom tier to there's a couple mid-tier level shows, right? So you get these couple mid-tier levels, then you get to the ones that are not the top tier, but they're right underneath it, like the Arnold. The Arnold will be just underneath that top tier, and then you have that top tier, which is the Olympia. Then you have the top 5 of the Olympia, which are the top tier. People don't understand. They just think, bodybuilding, go do a show. That's not how it works. And I'll tell you right now, the first time I walked into that junior level, I was like, good Lord, these guys are crazy looking. I had come in contact with Shelby Starnes, Dusty Hanshaw. I was like, these guys are unbelievable. Dusty was 265 pounds in shape. And Shelby, although he was smaller, he was a light heavyweight at the time, he looked massive, right? And I can tell you guys a story to try, kind of explain it. And I've told this story before. It was on M3 Muscle. So my friend Rick and my roommate Mario at the time, we went to the Arnold. My ex-girlfriend Carrie was competing. We go to the Arnold, and that morning we get up, we decide we're going to do cardio. We go to the hotel, and we're doing cardio, and we're trying to think about what we're going to film for the day, right? Because we're filming for a website that we had called m3muscle.com. It's like a forum. And we had a YouTube page and all that stuff. So as we're doing our cardio, these three guys walk into the gym and they're working out. And they got protein on, right? Like one coat of protein, like that one kind of light coat on. And these guys are fucking massive. They are massive as fuck. I wish I had Mario and Rick here to explain it, or we had videos. And I'm looking at them going, man, I bet you they're working out, so they're not competing. So I get off the thing, kind of go walking over and start talking to one of the guys. There was only one guy that spoke English. He was like the trainer. They were the Egyptian bodybuilding team that came to the Arnold to compete. There was 3 of them. Well, we're talking to the guy, and he's like, no, he's this weight, he's that weight. They're telling us the classes, and I was like, what? I'm like, no way. So we actually get the scale, and he puts it on kilos, and the dude's stripped down, and these guys are fucking massive. I mean, massive. This guy looks like he's a fucking super heavyweight, right? He gets on the scale, 154. He was a fucking lightweight. This guy must have been about he was so wide. He was wider than fucking I was. I was 240. He was fucking huge. 154 pounds, right? Not 154 kilos. They did kilos, and we had to get the calculator out because we suck at math. And then the next guy got on, and he was like a light heavyweight. He was a middleweight. And he was like around 170 pounds. This guy looked like 240 easy. And then finally one guy got on there, was 194, 195 or something like that. He looked like he was 270. These guys looked unfucking real at that level because that was the Arnold level, right? That was the international Arnold level. And these guys were, going up against guys from all over the world that, some of these places didn't have pro cards to give. So you'd have to come to America, do the Arnold, and then petition for a pro card in your country. So these guys were pro level. And we're looking at these guys going, holy shit, they're so light, but they're so good. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. So I went on to, do national shows, junior shows, etc. When I walked on stage at Universe, I weighed about 190 pounds, somewhere around there. 186, 190, somewhere around there. And the other guys in my class I was in a master's class, were about 205, 210. And I'm looking at these guys going, man, it's going to be a long day. I was like, I wasn't on anymore. I was natural at that point. I was taking my TRT. I was using primeval supplements. I'm not going to push the envelope anymore. I want to test this water to see what I can do clean. And I just looked around myself and I said, you know what? I'm delusional. This is fucking stupid thinking that I can do this. I mean, yeah, I look good for the average person or a bodybuilder. I can win, a local show or whatever. And, I just won the Masters in the Delmarva. And I'm like, but this is a whole other fucking level that naturally I can't compete here. But I had to put my ego aside to understand that. And that's the way these things are. So to take Hunter and say, hey, he's going to be Mr. Olympia one day, I'm not saying what will or won't happen, but I'm saying realistically, he could win every show, make it to the Olympia. He could win no shows ever again. It just depends. It's like great bodybuilders haven't won every show. Great bodybuilders like Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler never won the Olympia, right? Could Hunter be someone that would be better than them? Who knows? But the bottom line is right now, I think people jumping the gun and pointing out that they know he's going to be Mr. Olympia, and they start talking about it. It's like, listen, give him the win he got now, right? Support him on his next venture. Support him on his offseason. Support him on his next show. Support him doing what he does if you're a fan of his and you believe in him and you like his physique. But beware of trying to put the cart before the horse, okay? What you're not trying to do is push this guy because he needs to be Mr. Olympia, and he starts thinking in his head, I got to get ready to be Mr. Olympia. These little shows are nothing. It's that. And they start pushing the envelopes, and this happens a lot. And we see it many times with the young guys. They push so fast, so hard, that their physique starts to go backwards in a couple of years. They start to push that weight. They start to push that body weight going up because they need to be bigger, bigger, bigger. And their physique just goes to shit. And next thing you know, they never, not only do they not come into fruition of what they, thought they were going to be or what everybody told them they were going to be, but at the same time, they go backwards and they can't even win shows that they were winning before because they think it's bigger, pushing bigger, and they have all this stress on them. They have all these people counting on them, right? And they don't want to let them down. It's not just about being the best you can be and taking every workout one day at a time and trying to do your best the next show. It's about trying to please everyone around you, trying to please your sponsors, please your fans, trying to fulfill the prophecy that you're going to be the best in the world after winning one show that was a subpar show because of COVID. I'm just being honest. And, he happened to be the one on stage that day. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. You know what I mean? 5 hours difference and one wrong move with the carbohydrate and water, he loses and Ian wins. You know what I mean? And we're not even having this conversation. That's how bodybuilding is. People start talking about, oh, he's definitely going to win this show. And then he gets his ass handed to him. Why? Because 3 weeks out in the gym is not how you're going to look on stage. And then when you put him next to somebody else, they look different. If different people showed up at that show, Hunter doesn't win. If Ian had nailed it, Hunter doesn't win. If the guy who got third, which I really thought, I can't remember his name, I thought that guy looked better than Ian, my personal opinion from the videos and stuff. And I wasn't at the judging table, so I could be wrong. But from the videos and the pictures I saw, the guy who was in third, I think should have been second. He should have been Ian. Ian kind of just outmassed him. This guy had much better round muscle bellies and his insertions, and I thought he was leaner in places, and I thought he just flowed better. I thought Ian just outmassed him, and that's how he beat him. But let's say that guy, filled out a little bit more, and Ian came in a little bit, waterier. He beats Ian, right? Let's say that guy nails it perfectly, and Hunter comes in a low. He beats Hunter too. Like, that's how bodybuilding goes. It's like the UFC. People go, oh, this one's going to win the fight. Oh, really? How many fights have we seen where the champ or whoever has been dominating gets his block knocked off with one punch? Because all it takes is one random wild fucking punch and it's over. Bodybuilding's the same way. You take one stupid move or one wrong move, it ruins your entire fucking year worth of work. And you don't know who's going to Hunter could look like this today. He could never replicate this again, possibly. He could possibly be worse for the rest of his career. This could possibly be the worst he's ever going to be. He could be better every show and improve every show. We just don't know. We've seen, again, Justin Compton. We've seen Matt Mendenhall, Rory Liedermeyer. People that never got to the point where the people thought they would, or their fans thought they would, or the pedestal that everybody put them up on, they never got to that point because it wasn't in the cards, and everybody jumped the gun. It's great to be positive. It's great to try to be supportive, but at the same time, it's good to be realistic and not put too much pressure on these guys early on. It's his first pro show, and everybody's got him winning the Mr. Olympia already. Like, to me, that's a lot of stress. It's a lot to carry around. You know what I mean? Like, you should be just enjoying the fact that you just won your pro debut, the Tampa Pro. It's a quality show. It's known. It's a good title, right? And people are happy for you. They're ecstatic. It wasn't like it was a close thing or people don't think he should have won. It's like he did what he was supposed to do, and this is his time. Right now is Hunter's time. Even if he never wins again, it's his time today. He won. He's a Tampa Pro champion. Until he does the next show, he's the champion, okay? And we should treat him like that and not be thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? That's the problem with bodybuilding. It's like, this show's done. What's next? What's next? Well, it's been less than 24 hours. Give him a little bit of time to enjoy his freaking win. And give him a little bit of time to enjoy the fact that he just busted his butt and it paid off. He outworked and outbeat everybody going through the same COVID bullshit that everybody else went through. He came out the other end, the winner. Let him take that as a fucking win and enjoy it and sit on it for a couple of days. Give him a week. Let him talk to his fucking coaches and shit. Listen to what he says next, where he's going next. He may not do the Olympia for the next 5 years. He may just want to be getting better, so that when he winds up getting to the Olympia, he's the best that he can be then. He's more mature. He's got more muscle maturity. He's got more size, whatever the case may be. So in closing, guys, I just think that Hunter did a great job. I think his physique is great. I really like him. Seems like a real humble guy. And I think he possibly can do big things. You know, he could be a very good ambassador for this sport. He's a good-looking kid. He's got a good physique. It's not an ugly physique. He's massive, but he's not like so freaky that you can't relate to him. Like, he's got a good thing going right now. And, of course, everybody jumps in there and tries to make it into something it's not yet. Well, let it get there on its own. Don't make it into something that it's not yet. Let him grow on his own. Let his physique grow. Let his brand grow. Let everything grow. And go along for the ride. Try not to push him unless he needs to push. Unless he's like, guys, I just don't have this in me today. Then, you got it, right? But don't jump the gun and say, hey, man, I know you just won 10 minutes ago, but when are you doing the Olympia? Because we're going to win. You know what I mean? Like, not a good look. So, in closing, congratulations, Hunter. You looked awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. You have no idea. I remember when I heard you doing the show, I said, I hope Hunter wins. I literally said that out loud because I really do think he's got a great physique, and I think he can go far. Let's just let him take today as a win. Take it one step at a time. And Hunter, keep going, man. Keep going. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BioStrength.com is a blog. It's the Hunter Labrada. Keep going, bicep. And we are out.